night of boxing that was, guys. Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed it, because I know I did. Unbelievable night, I have to say. Well done to Matchroom, well done to all the fighters, literally from top to bottom, bottom to top, from start to finish. It was all action, an absolute great card. Big up Matchroom for the show and for the production, and Sky, and the fighters, man. Everything's got to go to the fighters. Unbelievable. Sam Lowe here for Gwynne Boxing, of course. What's up, guys? Want to do a review of the card last night. It's a day after, and I think anyone who watched the card last night on Sky Sports probably agrees with me. Like, this is what we want to see when we watch boxing. And fair play to Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. You know, they've really come back with a bang. We're still in these pandemic times, but they've waited a little longer, and they've come back with really top level matchups, really good quality fights, and their risk kind of paid off, you know. Start to finish, excellent. We'll start the review by talking about the first fight of the night, which was Jordan Gill against Rhys Bellotti at featherweight. I mean, as in the preview, my opinion was that Gill would be too good for Rhys Bellotti, too skillful, too slick, and just too good a boxer for him, and I think that's the way it played out in the end. Gill winning on points. It was a 10 round fight, winning on points, and it was a bit of a landslide for me. It wasn't with the judges, but I didn't really see Bellotti winning many rounds, if I'm honest. Gill controlled the entire fight with his jab, countering Bellotti when he was coming in, and he was just getting off first most of the time. Really high level from Gill. I'd like to see him step up now and go on to harder fights, the likes of Ryan Walsh. That kind of Ryan Walsh, the man who just won't leave British level for whatever reasons it is. If it's promotional reasons, or he just hasn't got the backing, or he doesn't have the power behind him to push him on. I don't know, but obviously he's in the final of the Golden Contract Tournament now against Jazzy Dickens, which is going to be coming up soon, hopefully. But you know, I'd like to see Gill now push on to those kind of guys, you know, those kind of British, European level guys, pushing on to the world scene then, because he's past this kind of domestic British level, so he really does have to start pushing through the ranks. But what a performance by Jordan Gill. The next fight was Dalton Smith against Nathan Bennett. We didn't know much about Nathan Bennett coming into the fight. We knew he had a bit of a padded record, but that he was game and he was going to come to fight. And you know what? He did just that. He came in, he looked good shape, good technique. He just wasn't as good as Dalton Smith, unfortunately for him. He just, you know, he was a couple of levels below Dalton Smith. Anytime he kind of, when he was throwing out his singles and his 1-2s, he was getting countered an awful lot. Dalton was kind of waiting for him to throw, and then he was throwing single counters. A lot of backhand rights, a lot of left hooks, and he landed a lot of shots, and eventually we saw a devastating knockout from Smith, with the right hand, kind of the long right hand, kind of slightly over the top, and caught him just kind of under or just slightly behind the ear there, and he went down like a ton of bricks. It was a great knockout, great performance by Dalton Smith, and Nathan Bennett showed that he's a good fighter. He deserves to be around, he deserves to be there, and you don't be surprised if you see him on more of Eddie Hearn's shows or on more TV shows in general. I thought it was a decent showing from Nathan Bennett. But yeah, he definitely got found out there against a really top level prospect in Dalton Smith. Moving on then was the heavyweight fight on the card. Fabio Wardley won by a very good stoppage in the third round against Simon Vallily. I did predict that, not necessarily someone who would win the fight, but I did predict it would be a good fight, and that Vallily was a really live dog in the fight, and it seemed like what I thought was really coming through was coming true as well in the fight. But you know, Vallily started well. It was a good competitive fight first couple of rounds, and then Wardley saw an opening and caught him with a counter left hook, and that was kind of all she wrote. And it was a little bit disappointing, to be honest, for me, because once he caught him with that shot, Vallily, he rocked him and he went back, and then that was kind of it. It's like he kind of gave up a little bit, like he didn't have the wherewithal to maybe take a knee take his time and try and get back in. He just stayed on his feet, and then he just tucked up and didn't really do anything. Didn't try to move his feet out of the way, didn't try to move his head or his top half, didn't try to throw any punches back. And I was just a little bit disappointed. He was obviously rocked, and he obviously got shook to his boots, and that's fair enough. But I just thought when he got shook and he got rocked, he had no answers at all, Simon Vallily, and I was just a little bit disappointed with that, because I do think he's quite good, and you could see in the first 2 rounds and up until he got caught with that single punch that he was that he's good. He was busy. He came to fight. He came to win. But then once he got in trouble, he had no answers. He had no real way of dealing with it. So Wardley won, 3rd round stoppage. He looked really good, to be fair. I'd like to see him step up the levels now as well. I'm looking forward to his next fight, and hopefully he starts to fight more kind of English, British level fighters, you know, the likes of maybe Nick Webb, maybe even Dave Allen, these kind of guys. Maybe I can't remember his name now, it'll come to me. There's a few guys knocking around there at kind of English title level that are all they're all quite good, but you know, they don't look like they can push on past that kind of British level. But there's loads of good fights. Tom Little is who I'm trying to think of. Tom Little, I think it's a good fight for Fabio Ward. There's loads of guys like that at British level. I'd like to see him move on to a fight like that. And then, I mean, let's have it fair. James Tennyson against Gavin Gwynne. What a fight. What a performance. From both men, to be honest. From both men. And then Tenny got it done. I was just watching it. It was just beautiful to watch. Well done to James Tennyson. He never fails to impress. And just when you thought Gavin Gwynne was kind of getting back into the fight, he was starting to hit Tennyson a lot more. He was becoming very busy in the kind of 4th and 5th rounds. Tennyson just stepped it up a gear, and caught him hard. And once he caught him, that was it. He went in for it. Excellent performance by James Tennyson. Really, really good performance. And the thing about Tenny is that he's just never in a bad fight. He's just so entertaining to watch. He looks vulnerable. I said this in the preview. You know, Tennyson can get hit, and he does get hit a lot. Gavin Gwynne's a good fighter, but he's not a world beater. So you're looking at Tennyson thinking, well, how far is Tenny going to go? But do you know what? He's just so entertaining. The vulnerability is part of it, I think. But that devastating power, and he's got some engine, like his ability to keep coming forward, keep throwing punches, and throwing hard punches every time, like throwing absolute leather every single time, and taking shots as well. You know, if nothing else, Tennyson is just one to watch for pure entertainment. And as Irish fans, we have to start savouring and really appreciating fighters like James Tennyson, and also the likes of John O'Carroll, the guys who are going in and giving us really entertaining fights, putting it all on the line. I mean, most of the Irish guys are like that. I'm not going to mention everyone's names, but we have to really start getting behind these guys, because what a fighter James Tennyson is, and what an entertainer. And as he steps up the levels, it's going to get more and more difficult. But I think Eddie Hearn came out and had a couple of names, couple of crazy names. Well, Patera for the European title, I think, is a good fight, a winnable fight, a very hard fight, but a winnable fight for James Tennyson. But then Eddie came out and said Jorge Linares maybe against James Tennyson. He thinks that's a good fight. I mean, what a chance that would be for Tennyson to really establish himself on the world scene at lightweight and show people what he's made of, and you know, also be broadcast to a wider audience, because a Linares fight is going to be broadcast in the US on the Zone. It's going to gather a lot of attention. You know, 3-weight world champion, if I'm not mistaken, possibly 4-weight world champion, 3-weight world champion, former WBA super champion at lightweight, former WBC champion at lightweight. We've seen him have so many barn burners with the likes of Kevin Mitchell. Great fight. He obviously had the fight with Luke Campbell, which was a close fight, which he won. 2 fights with Anthony Crolla, which he comprehensively won. But Linares, obviously the only man to knock Lomachenko down, gave Lomachenko one of his toughest fights, of course. Linares is just a top operator, and what a spectacle that would be to see Tennyson in with someone of that level, that calibre. I would love it, and I would love it for Tennyson. I would like to see him preferably go first for the European title. I think that's like a logical next step up the levels, because if you're talking about the likes of Gavin, Gwynne, Atif Shafiq, who James Tennyson won against a couple of fights ago, Craig Evans, these guys are kind of British level guys. They're good fighters, but it's a big gap between those guys and Jorge Linares. So I would like to see him step up for the European title, at least win that, and then I think you're there. Then it's time. Then it's definitely time to throw him in to those fights and go, all right, let's see what you're made of. But I think he deserves to get the best shot to win that fight, and I think that's the thing. It's all well and good saying, oh, throw Tenny in with Jorge Linares, it's a great fight, it's going to be an exciting fight, but are you giving Tennyson the best chance to win that fight by slinging him in next? Or he doesn't fight for another 9 or 10 months and then you sling him in with Linares? I don't think that's the best way to do it if you're backing Tennyson and you want to give Tennyson the best chance to win that fight. I think you put him in for maybe one more, then you put him in for the European title, and then you go for someone like Linares, or you go straight for the European title off the back of this really good momentum he's on. You win the European title, and then you're ready, and the confidence is getting better. He has more experience, he's training, he's getting better, and then all of a sudden he's going to have a lot more belief in himself that he can win that fight. When he's carrying the European title and he's on a really big winning streak, on a big knockout streak. And that's the thing about Tennyson, is that he's always going to be a live dog because of that power, because of that toughness. But it is also a different ball game when you step up to the levels of someone like Jorge Linares. But what a chance now for Tennyson to push forward and just go up to the higher levels and show us what he's made of. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch him in his next fight, no matter who it is. Let's get on to the main event of the evening, guys. What an absolute barn burner of a fight. I have to say, probably one of the best fights that I've seen in recent times. It really did stick out when I was watching it. It was just, and I think everyone's going to agree with this, I mean, it was start to finish electric. I said in the preview that I thought Ted Cheeseman would have to have the best performance of his career to date to win this fight, because Sam Eggington is no mug. I was favouring Sam Eggington in the fight, just based on experience, level of opposition. He's done it at a slightly higher level, I believe. But you know what? Ted Cheeseman was brilliant. He was excellent, and he started so fast. He started well, established himself in the fight really early, and Eggington was kind of having to try and play catch up then from early on in the fight. I didn't really score the fight myself. I watched it and enjoyed it for the scrap that it was. It was just an excellent fight to watch. So I really just wanted to enjoy it as entertainment. But I saw Macklin had Ted Cheeseman like 6 rounds up, 6-0 as such on the card. After 6 rounds. I think you probably could make a good argument for it. He did I think he was doing enough. He was landing the more quality shots. He was kind of getting out of the way. Sam had his chances, and not just his chances, he had success in all of those rounds. Every round was a good round where both men had success and were landing good shots. But maybe Ted was just a bit busier, a bit cleaner, and a little bit better defensively, and he was just nicking the rounds, I think, at the start. But then Sam really got into the fight kind of more in the second half. And I mean, how Ted Cheeseman withstood some of the punishment that he was receiving from Eggington, I have no idea. I mean, these guys are made of iron. It's ridiculous. They literally just beat the bollocks out of each other for 12 rounds. It was crazy. And especially towards the back end, the last few rounds, and the last round in particular. I mean, I don't know how Ted Cheeseman took the flurry of punches it was 20 odd seconds, 15-20 seconds, where Eggington was just landing bombs on his chin, to his body, and then Ted sucked it up and then came back with his own and rocked Sam and put him in trouble in the last minute of the fight or something like that. it was just ridiculous, just back and forth. Oh, it was, what a fight. And you know, hats off to the guys. Just an excellent fight, just one of the best fights I've seen. Excellent performances by both guys, and you feel really bad for, as much as I'm delighted for Ted Cheeseman to win the fight, I'm upset for Sam Eggington. I have to say, I thought he was brilliant in the fight, really excellent. But you know what, Sam Eggington can come again. He can keep going. It's just whether he wants to or not, because he takes a lot of shots in his fights. You know, they're grueling fights. They take a toll on you. Those fights, was I'm sure all the boxing people watching this will agree. But you know, his stock definitely doesn't diminish in any way after that fight. What a performance! He lost the fight, but Sam Eggington can go on. There's fights with Fowler. There's fights with Scott Fitzgerald. If he comes back, apparently that's another kettle of fish there. Obviously, apparently, Scott Fitzgerald is doing time in prison at the moment. I don't know too much about it, so I won't go into it. But you know, when he comes back, if he comes back into that group of fighters and into the scene, that's a fight for Sam Eggington. As I say, Fowler, and there's a few more guys knocking around the division for Sam Eggington. I mean, you'd happily sling Sam Eggington in for a European title. He would be a legit contender for Sergio Garcia. Difficult fight for him to win, but based on that performance, and you would give Ted Cheeseman another shot at that title based on that performance. He really has grown since his loss to Sergio Garcia, and as I say, just to switch over to Ted a little bit, hats off to him. Unbelievably good performance, adapted, showed a lot of variation in the fight. He boxed a bit more at the start, and then he stood and held his ground a bit more in the second half. Excellent, showed his toughness, showed his skill, showed his ability to vary up his shots. His ability to take a punch, excellent. Would love to see him move on now, Ted Cheeseman. If they had a rematch, which isn't off the cards apparently, I would not mind that at all. You would expect a very similar fight, or a similar style of fight, where they go at each other and both men land a lot of shots. But I'd love to see both men move on now. I think Eggington doesn't have to go backwards if he chooses to keep fighting. I think he can keep moving forward, or I'd like to think so at least, because that was an excellent performance, and that will only do him good. You know, maybe Eggington against. He was slated to fight Brandon Rios probably a couple of years back now. But those kind of fights in America, I would love to see Sam be kind of slung in now in America against these kind of fringe world level guys, or some prospects in America at light welterweight. I say light welterweight, sorry, super welterweight. I think that would be great. You know, give Sam Eggington a few quid now. You know, let him earn a few quid on some big shows in some good fights, and that's what I would love to see for Sam Eggington. But for Ted Cheeseman, I would love to see him move on. Maybe have another shot at the European title. Maybe move directly and start going for a world title shot. I don't think he's ready for a world title shot, nor would Sam Eggington be ready for a world title shot. I think the division's very stacked in super welterweight. A lot of good champions there, but a lot of good fighters just floating around the top of that division. But I'd like to see those guys make their way up now, kind of European level, especially Ted, European Championship level. Would be amazing. But look, what a fight card, what a production by Matchroom and by Eddie and Sky. Really good, enjoyed every second of it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my kind of review on the card and my bit of analysis and breakdown. If you do like it, please like and subscribe. Share the video, comment on the video. I'm going to be doing more videos now, previewing and reviewing the cards that are coming up. Not just the Sky cards, but the BT shows and the MTK shows that are coming up as well. So check those out when they come out. And thanks very much guys for watching, and peace.